Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 reasons your third eye isn't opening and how to change that. Now, to understand this more, really, it's about understanding what the third eye really is and understanding the symbolic representation of what that is. And to even explain it, it's going to involve the first reason many people don't open their third eye. And that's simply because it's made to be this very mystical type thing. It's thinking that it's some connection, and not that this can't symbolize the idea of a connection to a deeper level understanding of who we are, but when it's given this connotation of this very woo-woo type thing, it becomes something that is hard to relate to. That's why the way that I understand the third eye to be is understanding it from this point of view. When we think of the idea of third eye, what we can do is realize that we have 2 eyes that can see. We see through the left eye and the right eye, and with that comes an understanding that we live in a dualistic type nature. Dualism means that there's just good, there's bad, there's left, there's right. There's 2 sides to every coin, and with that, we're able to see that anything can have, in a way, a positive and a negative. And when we begin to see that that is part of the type of experience that we're having, we can see that because of that, we can then learn how to transcend the dualism into what we call a single point of focus, which is what we could fundamentally call the third eye. Now, when we come to understand it from this point of view, it makes it a little bit easier for us to actually relate to the idea. Because priorly, it becomes this very mystical thing that we only hear about, things in Egypt and stuff like that. And because of it, it's stuff that we're kind of like, we can't even believe that it could happen for us because it's made to be so complicated. It's actually very simple, and the more simple we make things, the more practical they are, and the more likely we can relate to it. So see it simply as the idea of opening our third eye is that we transcend duality. We transcend things being good or bad. We start to see things as being neutral, meaning depending upon the perspective that we have, that's what's going to determine whether we view it as positive or view it as negative. Even in the sense that a rainy day is a neutral idea. Whether it's something positive to you or negative to you will depend upon a perspective that you have, but when you transcend that perspective, you can then see that it's a neutral idea. We can observe the thoughts that we have. In the observation is where the power is, which is where it brings me to the second point. The second reason your third eye isn't opening is because you might be attached to ideas that no longer serve you or attached to certain belief systems. So when it comes to this understanding the dualism seen through the left eye and the right eye, we can see that rather than being attached to ideologies, one of the easiest ways to get ourselves to a single point of focus is by choosing to observe our thoughts rather than react to them, rather than become attached to them. Now, this comes from a very powerful understanding that, one, everything is fundamentally neutral. Depending upon our perspective is what charges it one way or another. But what we can simply choose to do then is, as the thoughts come up, to observe the thoughts. We then realize that we are not our thoughts. We are not our ego. We do not need to be attached to what we believe to be true, and even if we see what we believe to be true, we can observe it, and then it doesn't have power over us. So many times we are at the effect rather than the cause. When we start to see our beliefs for what they are, when we start to see our thoughts for what they are, we start to actually gain our power back because we are not limiting ourselves to a smaller point of who we think we are. So the power in this is understanding that as you observe your thoughts, as you observe what you believe to be true, you start to really take your power back, because rather than living at the effect, you start to actually live at the cause. So realize that you are creating your reality with your beliefs that you have about what you define to be true, but the true power and the true ability that you have to singleize your focus is through, first off, just observing the thoughts you have, observing what you believe to be true, and then from that point of view, you're able to actually experience what you want because you're coming from awareness. Now, with the third reason that your third eye isn't opening, could be because of your diet. Now, I'm going to take this a little bit deeper than most people will explain this when it comes to the third eye. Now, I do think it's important to eliminate fluoride as much as you can from your diet. But even realize this, the idea of fluoride being a negative thing from a certain level is a belief system. It's something that we're buying into. And while there might be supporting evidence that shows that if we eat fluoride, it calcifies the pineal gland, which is inside the head, it comes from understanding that if we attach too much to the idea, we're attached to the second one I was talking about with getting too attached to certain ideologies. Realize that in general, if we eat healthy, what we are doing is we are allowing ourselves to have more clarity because there's less toxins in our body. It becomes easier for us to actually eliminate the waste in our body. Therefore, it does become something that can be powerful to eat more nutrient-rich, dense foods, to get rid of certain toxins that don't serve us, to eat more clean or drink cleaner water. Whatever we believe in, whatever belief system is something that will help us get rid of those things, we can do those things. But also understand that in a way is still something that we're buying into, and when we have that awareness, we can really then begin to see where our true power is. Now, in general though, I found for myself that once I started to drink more alkaline water, it was a little bit easier for me to feel more clarity in my life, to then observe my thoughts rather than react, because when I put toxins into my body or I'm not necessarily eating healthier, it's like it's a little bit more cloudy in my mind, and when it's more cloudy, it's harder for me to have that singleized focus because I become too attached to certain beliefs. I become too attached to certain things because there's that fogginess there. So what I encourage you to do is to first off just realize that all you have to do is realize that this is an easy process. Have a belief that this is easy to do. Let go of all the attachments to this being so mystical and so unrelatable. Start to understand, become aware of your belief systems, of what you believe to be true. Choose to observe your thoughts rather than react to them. As you observe your thoughts, you singleize your focus. You then take yourself out of the dualism, the dualistic nature, and from that point of view, you can start to actually choose who you prefer to be, and you can see things for how they really are. No charges to either side, just for what they are. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it of value, and as always, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste. All right, bye.